They said this 1910 era Rolls-Royce was finished, forgotten, beyond saving. A relic from another century, buried under rust, silence, and time itself. But what if they were wrong? What if beneath the decay, there was still something waiting? Not just a machine, but a legacy, a story that refused to disappear. Because this is not just any car. This is a 1910 era Rolls-Royce born in an age where every detail was shaped by hand, where luxury was crafted, not manufactured. A time when automobiles were more than transportation. They were symbols of power, status, and timeless elegance. Now, after decades of neglect, it stands on the edge of extinction. Corroded metal, faded surfaces, a structure weakened by years of silence. But today, everything changes. This is not just a restoration. This is a transformation. We are not here to bring it back as it was. We are here to redefine it, to preserve its soul, while giving it a new identity. And that identity is built on a single vision, in white, not just a color but a statement, a symbol of purity, precision, and perfection. From the darkest rust to the cleanest, most flawless white. From decay to something almost unreal. Every surface will be reborn, every detail refined, every imperfection erased. The exterior transformed into a seamless white finish that reflects light like polished stone. The interior rebuilt into a calm, luxurious white sanctuary. Every element designed with intention, balance, and precision. This machine will carry its history, but it will no longer be defined by it. Because beneath its classic body, a new experience will take shape. Modern performance, refined comfort, silent power. A machine from the past, rebuilt for the present. But this journey will not be easy. There will be challenges, unexpected damage, moments where everything feels impossible. And still, we move forward, step by step, piece by piece, until this forgotten structure rises again, not as it was, but as something greater, a fusion of history and modern luxury, a balance between heritage and innovation, from rust to perfection, from abandonment to presence. This is not just a rebuild. This is the rebirth of a 1910 Rolls-Royce, reimagined in white.
Project Vision. This project is built on a single powerful idea: to create a Restomod luxury vehicle that does not simply restore the past, but reimagines it for a new era of craftsmanship, performance, and emotional presence. At its core, this vision is centered around a rare balance: the preservation of heritage and the integration of modern engineering. The first principle is simple but essential: to maintain the original vintage aesthetic. This means respecting the identity of the machine as it was originally conceived in the early automotive era. The long proportions, the upright stance, the handcrafted elegance of its form, all of these elements carry historical significance. They are not just design choices, they are the language of an era when automobiles were built with patience, precision, and pride. Nothing about that identity is erased. Instead, it is protected. The second principle is integration: to introduce modern mechanical reliability. Beneath the preserved exterior lies a completely redefined foundation. Modern engineering is carefully embedded within the structure to ensure that the vehicle is not only beautiful but functional, dependable, and safe by today's standards. This includes improvements that are intentionally hidden from view: enhanced suspension systems for stability and comfort, upgraded braking systems for control and safety, and a refined powertrain designed to deliver smooth, consistent performance. These upgrades are not meant to change the character of the vehicle. They are meant to support it. The third principle defines the emotional goal: to deliver a premium luxury experience. Luxury in this project is not defined by excess. It is defined by intention. Every material, every surface, every interaction is carefully considered to create a sense of calm sophistication and refined presence. The cabin becomes a space of immersion rather than function alone. Soft textures, carefully selected finishes, and a monochromatic white interior design language come together to form an environment that feels both modern and timeless. It is not just a place to sit, it is a place to experience. And at the heart of this entire philosophy lies a guiding statement: preserve the soul, upgrade the experience. This is not a slogan. It is the foundation of every decision made throughout the build. To preserve the soul means to respect the identity, history, and emotional value of the original machine. It means recognizing that this vehicle is more than metal and mechanics. It is a symbol of a time when craftsmanship was personal and deeply human. To upgrade the experience means to evolve that legacy into something that meets modern expectations without losing authenticity. It means improving comfort without compromising character, enhancing performance without erasing history, refining detail without over-designing simplicity. Every stage of this project follows that philosophy, from the earliest inspection of the vehicle's condition, to the careful disassembly of its aged structure, to the restoration of its frame and bodywork, to the integration of modern mechanical systems. Each step is guided by restraint, precision, and respect. There is no attempt to overwhelm the original design. Instead, branding and positioning. What if a brand could be recognized before a single word is spoken? What if the moment someone sees it, they already understand what it represents? Because this is not just about restoring a car. This is about creating an identity so clear, so controlled, that every frame, every detail, every transformation becomes instantly recognizable. And that identity is built on one foundation: white. Not as a color choice, but as a signature, a visual language that defines everything. At its core, this brand is **premium***, not loud, not excessive, but precise. Every detail is intentional, every surface is refined, every result is controlled. Premium is not about adding more. It is about removing everything unnecessary until only perfection remains, and white makes that standard visible. Because white demands precision, it exposes flaws, it rejects imperfection, which means every build, every finish, every transformation must meet a higher level. Not acceptable, not good, but exact. The second layer of identity is **mystery***, because this transformation does not reveal everything at once. At the beginning, the car is incomplete, broken, uncertain. The final result cannot be seen, only imagined. And that gap between what is shown and what is hidden creates tension, curiosity. The viewer begins to ask, what will it become? How far can it go? Is that level of perfection even possible? And the answer is not given immediately. It is revealed slowly, step by step, until the final moment, when everything comes together in white. A reveal that feels earned, controlled, unavoidable. The third and most defining element, transformation. This brand does not show static results, it shows change, from damaged to refined, from disorder to precision, from darkness to clarity. Every project follows the same direction. Every story moves toward the same outcome, a complete shift in identity. And that consistency creates recognition, because no matter the starting point, the ending is always aligned, flawless, unified, white. Together, these three elements form the foundation: premium, mysterious, transformation-focused. But branding is not just what is built, it is how it is remembered, and that is where positioning becomes clear. This is not just a restoration channel, this is a transformation brand, a place where forgotten machines are not simply repaired, but redefined. A space where every project follows one principle: take what is broken and rebuild it into something that feels complete, not louder, not more complex, but more controlled, more refined, more intentional. And to anchor that identity, the message must be simple, clear, memorable, taglines that capture the entire process in a single line. From rust to royalty, a direct contrast, a journey from the lowest state to the highest standard, or classic soul, modern vision, a balance between past and present, between preservation and evolution. Both lines lead to the same understanding. This is not about replacing history, it is about refining it. And through it all, one element connects everything: white, not just as a finish, but as a system, a way of thinking, a way of designing, a way of presenting transformation, from the first frame, where the car is covered in rust and darkness, to the final reveal, where every surface is clean, smooth, and unified. The direction never changes. Everything moves toward clarity. Everything moves toward control. Everything moves toward white. Because in the end, a strong brand is not defined by what it shows. It is defined by what it represents. And this represents precision, restraint, transformation, a process where nothing is random, nothing is excessive, and nothing is left unfinished. A 1910-era machine reborn into a new identity, recognized instantly as perfection in white. Project objectives. What if everything you're looking at right now, every crack, every layer of rust, every broken line could disappear, not hidden, not covered, but completely transformed into something flawless? Because the goal here is not just to rebuild this car. The goal is to erase its past condition and replace it with something precise, controlled, and entirely redefined in white. A machine that once carried damage will carry perfection. But to achieve that, every objective must be clear, every step must serve a purpose, and every decision must move in one direction, from decay to a fully realized all-white luxury presence. The primary goals begin with the foundation, to restore structural integrity, because nothing else matters if the structure fails. Every weakened section of the frame will be reinforced. Every compromised joint will be rebuilt. Every hidden fracture will be addressed with precision. The goal is not to make it strong enough. The goal is to make it stable, reliable, and capable of supporting a transformation that demands perfection. A structure that once struggled to hold itself together will become the base of something flawless. From there, the next objective defines movement, to rebuild or replace the drivetrain. Because a machine that cannot move cannot exist. The original system, frozen, worn, and unusable, will give way to a refined mechanical core. A system designed for smooth, controlled performance. Not aggressive, not excessive, but precise. Quiet power, seamless motion. A driving experience that matches the visual identity. Clean, balanced, and uninterrupted. Then comes one of the most important principles. To maintain the original design language. Because this is not about creating something new. It is about respecting what already exists. The proportions, the silhouette, the presence, all of it must remain recognizable. Every curve will be preserved, every line respected, but refined, perfected, aligned into a final form where nothing feels out of place. And once completed, those same lines will be unified under a single, uninterrupted white finish. No visual noise, no inconsistency, just one continuous expression of form. The next objective transforms experience, to introduce modern comfort and safety, because luxury is not only seen, it is felt. The interior will no longer reflect decay, it will reflect control, every surface rebuilt in white. Every texture selected for softness and precision, every interaction designed to feel effortless. Seating that supports, controls that respond, a space that feels calm, balanced, and refined. And beneath it all, modern systems working quietly to ensure safety, stability, and reliability. Nothing visible, nothing distracting, only the result. Then comes the final primary goal, to achieve a luxury-level finish. Not good, not improved, but complete, every surface perfected, every reflection controlled, every detail aligned with intention. The white exterior will not simply be paint. It will be a statement, a flawless layer that defines the entire identity of the machine. Smooth, precise, uninterrupted. A finish so refined, it removes all memory of what came before. And when combined with the interior, the structure, and the performance, it creates something unified. A machine that feels complete. But the objectives do not end with the build. Because this project exists beyond the car itself, the secondary goals define its impact. To create engaging video content. Every stage of this transformation will be captured, not just the results, but the process, the struggle, the precision, the decisions that shape the outcome. Because people do not connect with machines alone, they connect with transformation. From the first moment of discovery to the final reveal in pure white, every step becomes part of a story. A story that holds attention and builds anticipation. To build a recognizable brand identity, because consistency creates recognition. And this project has a clear identity, precision, control, transformation. All expressed through a single visual direction, white, a color that becomes more than appearance, it becomes signature, a symbol of what this process represents. And finally, to attract both automotive enthusiasts and general viewers. Because this is not only for those who understand cars. It is for those who understand transformation, for those who see value in restoring what was lost, for those who appreciate detail, precision, and refinement, for those who want to witness something change completely, from a damaged structure to a flawless presence, from complexity to simplicity, from darkness to white. Every objective serves that journey. Every step supports that outcome. And when it is complete, what remains will not just be a rebuilt machine, it will be a statement, a vision executed with precision. A transformation defined by control, a 1910-era Rolls-Royce reborn into a new identity. Challenges and risks. What if the greatest threat to this project is not what you can see, but what you can't? Because transforming a broken, century-old machine into a flawless, all-white luxury presence is not just difficult, it is unpredictable. Every step forward carries risk. Every decision has consequences. And in a project where the goal is perfection, even the smallest mistake can destroy what cannot be replaced. Technical challenges. The first challenge lies beneath everything. Structural weakness. What appears stable may not be. What looks solid may collapse under pressure. The frame has endured decades of stress, corrosion, and neglect. Its strength is no longer guaranteed. Every joint, every mounting point, every section of metal has been compromised in ways that are not always visible. And the danger is not immediate failure. The danger is hidden failure, a structure that holds until it doesn't. Which means every movement must be calculated, every load carefully managed, because if the foundation breaks, the entire vision of a flawless white finish ends before it begins. Then comes a challenge that cannot be solved with effort alone. Parts unavailability. This is not a modern machine with accessible replacements. This is a 1910-era structure. Many original components no longer exist. Some cannot be sourced. Others are too damaged to reuse, which means one thing. They must be recreated, measured, fabricated, refined, not just to fit, but to match the original design language, because even the smallest mismatch breaks the illusion. And in a project where the final result must feel seamless, every recreated part must disappear into the whole, especially under white. Because white reveals everything, every imperfection, every inconsistency, every flaw. There is no place to hide. And then, the most complex technical challenge of all, the integration of modern systems, a modern engine, a new transmission, updated braking, electrical systems that never existed in the original design. All of it must fit within a structure that was never built to support it, and it must do so without changing what the car looks like. No visual disruption, no design compromise. Everything must be hidden, engineered beneath the surface, so that the exterior remains untouched, clean, classic, and unified in white, but beneath that simplicity is complexity. A complete fusion of old and new, and if that balance fails, the car becomes something it was never meant to be. Creative challenges. Not every risk is mechanical. Some are visual, some are conceptual, and these are just as critical, because this project does not aim to simply rebuild. It aims to transform without losing identity. The first challenge, balancing classic and modern design. Too much preservation, and the result feels outdated. Too much modernization, and the original character disappears. The line between the two is narrow, and every decision, every curve, every finish, every detail must stay within that line, because the goal is not contrast, it is harmony, a seamless blend where nothing feels forced and nothing feels out of place. And then comes the most subtle but most dangerous risk, and over-modernization, the temptation to add more, to improve beyond necessity, to introduce features, shapes, or details that break the original identity, because modern design often demands attention, but true luxury does not, especially in white. White demands discipline. It removes distraction. It exposes excess. It forces every detail to justify its presence. And if too much is added, the result loses its elegance. It becomes crowded, unbalanced, disconnected. So restraint becomes essential. Every addition must be questioned. Every enhancement must be controlled, because the goal is not to show everything that can be done. The goal is to do only what is necessary. In the end, these challenges define the project, not as obstacles, but as boundaries. They force precision. They demand discipline. They refine every decision, because only by navigating these risks can the transformation remain true. from fragile structure to controlled strength, from missing parts to seamless reconstruction, from complexity to simplicity, and finally to a result where nothing feels excessive, nothing feels unfinished, and everything is unified under one vision. A machine perfected in white. Cost considerations. What if achieving perfection costs more than rebuilding the car itself? Because turning a broken, abandoned machine into a flawless, all-white luxury presence is not just a technical challenge, it is a financial one. Every decision has a cost, every improvement demands investment, and every step toward perfection raises the stakes. This is not a simple restoration. This is a transformation where nothing can be average, especially when the final identity is defined by white. Because white does not hide mistakes. It exposes them, which means every surface, every material, every detail must meet a higher standard, and that standard comes at a price. Estimated cost factors. The first and most unavoidable cost begins with fabrication and materials. Damaged components cannot simply be repaired. Many must be recreated from scratch. Metal must be reshaped, panels must be rebuilt, surfaces must be refined to a level where they can support a flawless white finish, and not just any white. A layered, high-quality white that reflects light evenly, without distortion, without inconsistency. This requires precision materials, specialized processes, and time, because achieving a perfect white surface is one of the most demanding finishes in automotive work. Then comes the mechanical core, engine and drivetrain. The original system, unusable, outdated, and unreliable, must be replaced or completely rebuilt. A modern engine, a refined transmission, a braking system that delivers control and safety. These are not optional upgrades. They are essential, because the final result is not just visual, it must perform. It must move with confidence, smoothness, and reliability, matching the clean, controlled identity of the exterior. The next major investment defines the experience. Interior customization. This is where luxury becomes tangible. Every surface inside the car will be rebuilt, not just restored. Premium materials are required. Soft, refined leather, carefully selected finishes, subtle, integrated lighting, and most importantly, consistency. Because the entire interior will follow one direction. White. A complete, immersive white environment. Seats, panels, stitching, details, all aligned into a single, unified design. And achieving that level of consistency, without variation, without imperfection, requires precision, craftsmanship, and cost. Because in a white interior, every flaw is visible. Nothing can be hidden. Then comes the factor that shapes everything else: labor and tools. This project cannot rely on speed. It requires time, skilled work, careful execution, repeated refinement. Specialized tools are needed for fabrication, finishing, and integration, and skilled hands are required to use them. Because this is not assembly, this is craftsmanship. Every hour invested moves the project closer to perfection, but it also increases the cost. Budget strategy. With so many demands, control becomes essential. Not everything can be prioritized equally, and this is where strategy defines success. The first priority is clear: structural and mechanical integrity, because without a strong foundation, the rest has no meaning. The frame must be solid. The systems must be reliable. The performance must be consistent. This is where the majority of the budget must go, because strength cannot be compromised. The second priority focuses on what the world will see: visible luxury features, the exterior finish, the interior experience, the details that define the identity of the car. This is where the white vision becomes real. But optimization is key. Spending is focused on areas that deliver maximum visual impact. Clean surfaces, perfect alignment, flawless finishes. Not unnecessary additions, but intentional refinement. Because true luxury is not created by adding more. It is created by perfecting what is already there. In the end, cost is not just about money. It is about value. What is worth preserving? What is worth replacing? What is worth perfecting? Every decision shapes the outcome. Every investment defines the result. And when it is complete, the cost disappears. Because what remains is something that cannot be measured, a machine transformed, a presence refined, a vision executed without compromise, from broken to complete, from complexity to clarity, from decay to perfection in white. Suggested video series: what if a completely forgotten machine, left to decay for decades, could return not just restored, but perfected? not in fragments, not halfway, but transformed into something flawless, something controlled, something defined by a single identity: white. Because this is not just a rebuild. This is a journey from darkness to clarity, from corrosion to precision, from abandonment to a fully realized all-white luxury presence. And every stage of that journey becomes a story. Episode 1. Discovery of the abandoned car. It begins in silence, a space untouched, a machine left behind, covered in rust, consumed by time, its original identity almost unrecognizable. This is the first encounter, the moment where expectation meets reality. Every detail is captured: the damage, the decay, the absence of life. But even here, the vision is introduced, a future where this same structure will stand in pure white, clean, refined, almost unreal. The contrast is established: what it is versus what it will become. And that contrast creates one question: is this even possible? Episode 2. Full Teardown. The transformation begins with removal. Layer by layer, the car is taken apart. Rust-covered panels are separated. Hidden damage is revealed. The true condition emerges. This is not destruction. It is exposure. Every part is documented, labeled, and understood. And visually, this phase delivers something powerful: the breakdown of complexity, the satisfaction of watching a damaged structure lose its weight as it moves closer to something controlled. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. And with every removed piece, the future becomes clearer. Episode 3. Frame Restoration. With everything stripped away, the truth is revealed. The frame stands alone, weak, misaligned, compromised. This is the foundation, and it must be corrected. Rust is removed, damage is repaired, geometry is restored. Every measurement matters, because this phase determines everything that follows. Strength returns, balance is reintroduced, and slowly, the structure becomes stable again, no longer collapsing, but supporting. Supporting the weight of transformation, supporting the vision of a flawless white finish. Episode 4. Engine Upgrade. The past gives way to precision. The original engine, frozen, unusable, is replaced with something refined. A modern system, reliable, controlled, efficient. A new transmission is integrated. Braking systems are upgraded. Everything is engineered for smooth, effortless movement. And yet, none of it changes what the car looks like. Because the transformation is not about appearance alone, it is about experience, a classic exterior, powered by a modern core, invisible but essential. Episode 5. Interior Transformation. Now, the identity begins to take shape. Inside, everything changes. What was once empty becomes intentional. Every surface is rebuilt. Premium materials are introduced. Textures are refined. Details are aligned. And throughout it all, one direction defines the space: white, seats, panels, stitching, all unified into a calm, controlled environment. No distraction, no excess, just clarity. A space that feels balanced, precise, and complete. Luxury is no longer imagined. It is experienced. Episode 6. Exterior Restoration. The transformation becomes visible. The body is restored, lines are corrected, surfaces are perfected. Every panel aligns into a single continuous form, and then, the defining moment. White is applied. Layer by layer, the finish takes shape. Clean, smooth, uninterrupted. A surface that reflects light with precision. A presence that removes all memory of what came before. This is not paint, this is identity. Episode 7, Final Reveal. Everything comes together: the structure, the systems, the interior, the exterior, reassembled with precision. The machine is complete. The engine starts. Movement returns. The transformation is realized. And for the first time, the vision is fully visible. A 1910-era machine no longer defined by decay, but by control, by precision, by perfection. A fully restored, all-white luxury presence, from rust to clarity, from silence to motion, from abandonment to something that feels untouched by time. Content style. Every episode follows a consistent approach. Cinematic storytelling, capturing every detail with intention, framing each moment as part of a larger narrative. Emotional narration, not just explaining what is happening, but revealing why it matters. And a progress-based structure, where each step builds on the last, creating momentum, anticipation, and satisfaction. Because this is not just a sequence of events, it is a transformation. And when told correctly, it becomes something viewers don't just watch. but experience. From beginning to final reveal in white. Psychological appeal. What if the reason people can't look away is not the car itself, but the promise of what it is becoming? Because from the very first moment, when this machine appears broken, dark, and consumed by time, a silent expectation is created that everything you are seeing will disappear, not hidden, not covered, but completely transformed into something flawless, something controlled, something defined by a single identity: white. This project taps into transformation satisfaction, the most powerful visual contrast the human mind can experience. At the beginning, the car is incomplete. Rust dominates every surface. Nothing feels aligned. Nothing feels finished. It represents disorder, and the mind rejects disorder, but then the process begins. Rust is removed. Damage is corrected. Surfaces are rebuilt, and slowly the chaos starts to disappear, until one moment changes everything. White appears, clean, precise, uninterrupted, and from that point forward, every step becomes more satisfying. Because the brain recognizes progress, it sees movement from imperfection to perfection, from rough to smooth, from broken to complete. And when the transformation is fully realized, when every surface is unified in white, the viewer experiences closure, a visual resolution, something that feels finished. Then comes curiosity, the force that keeps attention locked, because at the beginning, nothing suggests this outcome is possible. The car is too damaged, too far gone, too incomplete, which creates a question. What is hidden beneath all of this? Is there anything left worth saving? And more importantly, can something this broken really become something perfect? Every stage of the process answers part of that question, while opening another. And the closer the transformation gets to white, the stronger the curiosity becomes, because white represents the unknown future, a result that cannot yet be seen, but is constantly approaching. Next, luxury aspiration. White is not just a color in this project, it is a standard. A symbol of control, precision, and refinement. Because white does not hide mistakes, it exposes them. Every surface must be perfect, every line must be aligned, every detail must be intentional. There is no room for error, and that level of precision creates a sense of rarity, something that feels exclusive, untouchable. When the car is fully transformed, when the exterior reflects light evenly, when the interior forms a calm, unified white environment, it becomes more than a machine. It becomes an experience, a presence that feels elevated. And even though the viewer is not inside the car, they feel the effect. They understand the standard. They recognize the difference. And then, nostalgia. Because beneath the transformation, there is history. This is not a new creation. It is a continuation, a machine from another era, when design was slower, more intentional, more human. And that connection to the past creates emotional depth. The viewer is not just watching something change. They are watching something return, something that once existed and is now being redefined. And when that past is carried into a flawless white finish, something unique happens. The car no longer feels old. It feels timeless because white removes the sense of age. It simplifies the form. It clears the noise. It allows the design to exist without distraction. Past and present become one. All of these elements work together: transformation satisfaction, curiosity, luxury aspiration, nostalgia, each one pulling the viewer deeper into the process. But they all connect through one direction, one outcome. From the first moment of decay to the final moment of clarity, everything moves toward white, a complete, unified identity, a finish that defines the entire transformation. And that journey, from darkness to flawless white, is what makes it impossible to stop watching.